Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Married at First Sight, episode 4 panel. Listen, guys, next week we'll start officially properly. My bad. Listen, this week's been crazy. We're ready to love interviews. Okay, so we appreciate you guys for being patient with me. Thank you who's still awake. I know some of you are probably saying it's late. Well, guess what? It's always late for me. It's always late for me, all right? For once, you're going to stay awake late for me. You're going to go into work with eyes puffy as anything tomorrow, all right? And we appreciate you for it. But we're going to talk about Married at First Sight. I'm joined by Sean and Seaway today. Listen, I'll put the link there if you guys want to join it. No, let me not. This week we're just doing a super panel today. Let me not. We're going to talk about this episode because, listen, this episode, was mad. Okay? All right? Was mad. There's no way we're going to allow, what's her name? Is it Lindsay? To carry us all the way through. Listen, old girl put on the manipulative performance of her life. She sat in front of the balcony. She put on the tears. She cried. And then she said, I was scared. She put on the key words out there to make people feel like, you know what? Again, here we go with a black man scaring the white woman. Hey. Listen, we've seen this before. But we ain't going to allow it to happen again, okay? But again, I'm joined by Sean and by Seaway. Sean, how you doing today? You good?
Phenomenal. I mean, you lucky I'm Batman out here, bro. That I'm the human bat. That I don't sleep. I was like, come on, bro. Come on.
Right, it is one of the maddest days, bro. I'm telling you now, because, But we're here now. We're here. Next week we'll be back to normal, bro.
Okay, back to normal scheduled programming, right?
Back to normal scheduled program.
It was worth it, bro. It was worth it, I'm sure.
It was worth it. I'm not gonna lie to you. You guys bought the coins. Y'all paid and y'all paid. In fact, she's gonna be here next week. So you guys can cuss us. If you want to get angry, she's gonna be here next week, giving her unsolicited advice. But
y'all, he's not joking. He's
not unsolicited. You solicited her. You are the master solicitor. I blame you.
You don't know how I do what I do, baby.
Oh, boy.
2022, baby.
No reformation in the supervillain. It's all supervillain.
Listen, we're all here to be supervillains out here, bruv. Listen. Seaway, what are you saying?
You know, I'm tired. Us with these corporate jobs, we got to get up. But I'm good. I was playing beautician in the back anyway, coloring some hair. So,
jeez, all right.
I'm up.
I appreciate you. Corey, what are you saying? You there, bro? You gonna give us this deep voice all of a sudden?
Yeah, man.
Oh my days, freaking out, Corey.
Right.
Warn us.
I missed the question. What's the question?
There was no question. We're just saying how you doing.
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. How y'all doing?
We're good, bro. We're good.
Yeah.
We're talking about Married at First Sight. Listen, we're going to go in strong. We're going to start off with a bang. Let's talk about Karen straight away. Let's talk about old girl straight away. Lindsay and the mad scene with, what's it, Olajuwon? Is that how you say it? Olajuwon? Olajuwon. Olajuwon. And also with Katina as well, of Lindsay and Mark. I want to get you guys' thoughts, what you guys thought about the situation that happened between them, and then we'll break down each individual couple as we go. What was your initial thoughts around the situation? Sean, what did you think about that situation?
Well, funny that you put that in your title, because as soon as I watched it, I'm like, she's giving me Karen vibes. All the way from, first of all, why are all of these people acting like Puerto Rico is, come on, like they're really going somewhere far and distant land. So that was already straight out annoying. And then here goes Lindsay. Oh, I've lived there. And do you like calamari? And I speak Spanish, so you have to speak Spanish. Ma'am, slow down. Slow down with telling people what they need to do, where they need to do it. You want to talk Spanish? You speak Spanish. So I'm 100% with Olajuwon on this particular one. Why are you telling anybody what they need to do? Just relax. You worry about you. Keep your boobs in your dress, lady, and slow your roll and stop telling people. I think that's just it's so obnoxious. You're going to run around and say, oh, you need to do that and you need to do this. No, you need to mind your business and worry about having a good time and getting to know Mock the Shock. That's what Lindsay needed to focus on. And I'm glad she got put in her place, not only by Olajuwon. She also got put in her place by Katina. So rightfully so. And then she had to be segmented off into her own little private bus. So good for you. With that whole moment. And then like, he came at me aggressively. What? What are you talking about? And I'm so glad his wife was there to see. No, she was the one talking about, I'm going to fight him. Now, this is the second person that she's had a run-in with, Lindsay, right? She had a moment with Alyssa, and now here she is going back and forth, telling people what language they should speak. So I'm done with her.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. You're absolutely right on that, man. It's quite an entitled position to be in, like to try and tell people what to do when you don't have that relationship with them as well. Like, so it was just distasteful, and it took me back to the fact that she had already spoken. Mark went to speak to her family, and they were saying obviously like you have to tell her no, and this is one of those situations. No, baby, you don't get to tell people what they should be doing in another country, even if you think they should speak Spanish. My friend, you don't run nobody's life. You'll have a marriage that you need to focus on. Focus on your marriage. Corey, what was your thoughts on the Karen situation? I say Karen situation, but Lindsay giving us those Karen vibes.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. You need to come to me last every time tonight, because that's a little bit that I did miss. I think that's the part I did miss. One of the parts. So. Forgive me, bro. Forgive me. Come
You're
back
good,
to me.
bro. No, good.
But I did want to talk about the couples, so we go down the couples.
All right, no worries, couple. We'll get you in there, bro. No worries, bro. Seaway, what's your thoughts?
I mean, it was so bizarre. I agree with Sean. One, I don't understand why people are acting like they have never been anywhere before. Actually, I do think that Mike actually hasn't been anywhere before. So maybe that was part of the issue. But when they first like kind of explained the situation, how they were swifted off into a different bus, and then they said what happened, I'm like, oh, okay, so how did they get into a bus so quickly? And taking it back to the issue, Lindsay seems like one of those white people who do like mission trips in different countries, and then now wants to announce the fact that she spent her time in a foreign country, or she like, girl, like, one, we don't care. And here's the thing, you don't know these people, like you said, to be instructing them on what to do. Two, they're going to a resort for a honeymoon. If they don't know Spanish, first of all, they can't speak Spanish. But even if they did know Spanish, maybe they don't want to do that on their honeymoon at a resort. Now, I think some of you guys don't know, but I'm Cuban. And I've taken friends, and my family has taken friends, and we've gone to certain countries where are Spanish-speaking countries. And I'll say, hey, when we're out and about off of the path, where we're out in the city, do your best not to be speaking English, because I don't want to be targeted. So don't speak English. But I'm talking to people who done came with me to a country, and we're not on a resort. That is the only time I've ever said, like, hey, can you do me a favor? Limit your English, because I don't want to pay higher costs for food. I don't want nobody trying to pickpocket me. I'm not trying to stand out. Okay? I understand that. And I also understand that Americans have a very bad habit of going to foreign countries and speaking English as if other countries are obligated to speak English to us. And I think, Kojo, you know this in Europe, like, English speakers are the only people who do this, okay? We have a bad habit of doing that. With all that aside, like, I don't think that was her energy. I think her energy was like, I want to tell these people that I speak Spanish, and I want to feel like I am an authority on the situation. And she said it to the wrong person. And she started it with Olajuwon, and then she's gonna say he puffed up his chest and all this type of other stuff. And I'm just like, girl, when she started those white tears, I was like, no, not today. And I really appreciated how her husband went down there. He didn't throw her under the bus, but he really smoothed it over. He was a leader. He was an emotional leader in that situation, because he recognized that, he was like, maybe my wife is a whole fool. She done started this whole situation. Now we're down to the separate bus. He's trying to tell people what to do on the airplane. You know, so I like the way he smoothed it over, but you know, that's strike two. Don't start nothing you can't finish and want to cry. I can't stand that, period. If you start it, don't you dare cry. You better rock out. Look, you don't see Zadia crying. Everything she started, better finish. Don't start some tears.
Not you bringing a Zadia example.
Look, I give her that. She didn't cry. Don't cry. Don't you dare cry. If you're gonna puff out your chest, keep it puffed out. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like don't do that. And Lindsay looked like she want to start something, then it got a little bit too much, and she want to cry. I have no respect for that. Go down with the ship.
It's the gaslight for me.
Oh, we ain't got to the gaslight. We got
no, that's the gaslight too. It's the gaslight. We bringing gaslight back for some select folk.
Wait, who was gaslighting?
Lindsay. That's a total. How are you gonna sit up here, create chaos, and then turn around and say, "Oh my God, he postured himself to it like he was going to. He puffed his chest up, like he was going to attack me."
If she would have said that to Olajuwon, it would have been gaslighting.
What?
If she
said it out loud on a TV screen. It's words.
I think the best example of gaslighting is what we will get to later. That was extreme textbook gaslighting. Oh girl, with
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be honest, old boy even called it out. I said, not again. We're back here again. But I mean, what you're saying, yeah. I didn't even know because I think I missed when I was watching. Maybe I missed it, but I only heard it when Katina said, "Oh, she said she wanted to fight," and I was like, "Wait, Lindsay wanted to fight?" I was like, "What is going on with Lindsay? She wants to fight?"
That's what I'm saying. That's where the gaslight is, because how are you going to flip it back, retell the story, pretend like you were the victim and you were the one that was being aggressive? Come on, weaponizing her words.
Pure Karen behavior.
100%.
Okay. All right. See, we kind of touched on it. What was your kind of thought on Mark apologizing, on behalf of his wife? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Should he have done it? Should he not have done it? Does it does it help? Does it not help the situation? What's your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I think it helped.
Okay.
I think it was a way to smooth things over. And I think, listen, as a husband, just kind of as Seaway mentioned in the first part, that's the way to cover your wife.
Yeah.
It's like to kind of step in there. Hey, listen, I'll bite the bullet. I'm apologizing on her behalf. Would you feel better if I had her apologize? And he was like, Olajuwon was like, no, I don't need to do that. But as long as he's consistent, like we only saw a part of the conversation, and I understand that, this is new for all of them, but I really hope that he kept that same energy upstairs when he was talking to her. Right? I hope he kept that same energy when he was like, hey, listen, babe, I see you might have been intending to have a good old fun time, but you crossed some lines and you really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because when he got to her, it was almost like he was consoling her, and she was like, "Oh, I feel like he protected me, or I feel like he really handled me the right way." So I don't know that she fully got that he was trying to show her the error of her ways, but I understand the balance of the fact that he doesn't know her, right? So I'm just a little bit like, is there dual messaging going on? That's what I'm just kind of making sure and hoping is not happening.
Yeah, I'm hearing you on that.
Okay, so for me, I think he did two things, right? I think one, he covered his wife. I think two, he covered himself. I think it was a conversation being had, like, hey, this is not something that we talk about when we go to bed. This is not behavior that I submit to. I don't do that. So I think him doing that really did a good job for her and him to have that conversation with him. Kind of cleared both of them.
Good vibes. Good vibes. Seaway, appreciate that, Corey.
I mean, I think he did what he had to do. Like Corey said, he was darned if he did, darned if he don't. I think he was better that he did. Um, if he had to correct her in any way, that definitely was not for the group to see. And I think that's where husbands have effed up in the past. They're trying to correct their wives in front of the group. That's not appropriate. And two, I don't think it was going to be a really easy situation for him to correct someone he doesn't know is probably as much as he wanted to. So I hope he said something to her, which even on camera, we saw him say a few things like, hey, I think you both didn't know each other. I think, he kind of smoothed it over because really it seemed like she was almost 90% in the wrong, if not 100. Um, but I think he handled it the best way to keep the peace and get the point across. In his conversation with Olajuwon, him and Mark showed a lot of maturity. The way they handled the situation. Even if Olajuwon got upset with her on the plane, I think he really brought down the temperature in the room and tried to be emotional leader. And Mark was an emotional leader. And that's what you really want to see in your husband. You don't need someone rah-rahing you, cheerleading you to start some mess on your honeymoon. That's not what you guys are here for.
Certain somebody did that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think he did a good job. He really gained some points in my book. He already had a lot, but I liked him even more. He has a lot of fans for Lindsay.
I'm with you. I think he did a great job in terms of coming out there and apologizing on behalf of his wife. I think it cooled the temperature for everybody. I think it also distinguished him from her. Because this is not his wife of 10 years. This is his wife of 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And this is not a guarantee this is going to work. So it was a good move to apologize. Strategic, good. I'm not saying he was thinking strategically, but it was a good strategic move to make sure you quelled the quarries within the group. And I'm with you, Sean. I hope that same energy. And I remember a situation I had with one of my exes one time. We went into a shop, and she was just being rude to the person who was helping. And after I apologized to the shopkeeper, and as we got out of the shop, I said to her, "Don't ever do that again. Don't do that. I don't like that kind of stuff. Why are you being rude to the person unnecessarily? It doesn't make sense just because he took a little bit longer than you needed to. I think you have to also set that boundary. I hope he's doing that. That's what I'm hoping he's doing, because without that aspect of your relationship, right, you're gonna be apologizing forever, right? And that's how you get run over. You don't want to get run over. You know what I mean? Because he's generally a really, really nice guy. I hope he can create that boundary to make sure that she understands that, hey, look, I've apologized on your behalf, but listen, we a team out there, but don't ever do that again. You making us both look bad by doing that. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm agreeing with what Siwe said. They played the clip as if them man went on a bus separately because she got a special deal. No, nobody likes them. And that's what I'm scared for him, that if he starts now having to introduce these false narratives about we went onto a bus because she got a special deal, when you know that your girl cussed everybody out and got herself tossed off the bus, you're starting to enter a dangerous space. I don't know if anyone else wants to even comment about that, because that bus thing was a bit wild when he did that, man. When they both did that, to be honest.
It seemed like production trying to protect white tears, if you ask me, because I don't. That seemed kind of odd. They didn't really clue us in. We had to get clued in later. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist because, I mean, they have chucked plenty of white women under the bus before on Married at First Sight, and they're kind of doing it with the old girl later. I can't remember her name because I just
Alyssa.
Is that her name?
Alyssa, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're doing it with her for sure. So they pick and choose, but that seemed like, why did we
easy to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, because she's hurting herself.
Yeah, she's
like,
doing.
Why did y'all not lay it out while they're on the bus? Like, say what it was. They made it really weird.
Really, it's a bit peak.
Yeah, I think Mark is now starting to realize what her dad meant by you have to reel her in. So when she's going on that path that she went on, I think if he had pulled her back then, that's kind of like an example to me. What you guys think about that part when he said there are times in her life where you will have to reel her in? You think that it's some type connected to that?
Oh, absolutely. Didn't he call her a crocodile too?
Said.
Yep.
He referenced a couple of different animals, and the So he definitely set the tone for what to expect. And I think in the moment, and this is where my concern is, right? In the moment, I think, yeah, you definitely don't want to reprimand her in front of other
Yeah.
people. You
Yeah.
just want to remove her from the
Yeah.
situation. So if it's getting heated, come on, babe, let's go. But when it's the one-on-one, that's where just my concern is. And Mark, he's just a nice guy. So I don't know if he's got that edge to really like they gave her that kit, right? You know, they gave him that kit with the no button, like for a reason. You got to let her know behind the scenes, babe, you were wrong, right? Let's not, there can't be any dual messaging. Like, I get that you didn't choose the right timing. No, it is totally inappropriate for you to tell people in another country what language they should be speaking. It comes off wrong. And for you to flip it around and pretend like this guy was going to harm you or that this whole situation blew up out of nowhere, then yeah, we got a problem. That's the way you exacerbate things. So just be very cautious about what you say to other people. That's just the messaging that I'm thinking about for somebody like her, that she needs to hear that, because she can't walk away thinking like, oh, maybe I was right, because then you get somebody that just keeps going doing the same thing in a different way.
I'm hearing you. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Siwa, what's your thoughts? Did the family's words, does it make sense now? Is it truthful, you think?
I think the family gave a very accurate depiction of Lindsay without sharing too much negative information. But what I would like to say is, I think Mark was the only person, and we'll get to this later, that took the family's information and used it in a constructive way. Because what I think we're seeing in the other couples with Jasmina, which kind of annoyed me later,
Bruh.
like she really annoyed me. And
Oh.
and then you see, of course, what Alyssa's doing. Like you're seeing, and even honestly, how Katina doesn't trust Olajuwon, but I don't really blame her for that.
Yeah, I don't
But
believe that either.
I mean, everyone is really taking what the family is trying to give them as constructive tools and making it negative. And instead of forming their own opinion, they're using it like they're using it as preconceived notions and basing their actions off of what they done heard. I think Mark is actually like took the advice and used it in a constructive way and is still trying to give Lindsay the benefit of the doubt while letting her, create their own experience. So I'm glad that the family kind of gave him some insight without completely painting her in a inaccurate brush. I'm not, they were trying to be accurate, and I like the way Mark used the information.
I'm hearing you on that, 100%. Definitely hear you on that. Good examples about the other couples as well. Corey, what's your thoughts? Since you kind of brought it up in the first place, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, as far as the family's influence, definitely. I think each family gave, some family members gave a little bit too much, in my opinion. But I think with her family in general, it was important that Mark, he took it kind of light at first, the little buzzer where it says no. And, I forgot the other item that was in the bag. But yeah, he should have taken the father's words seriously, with having to wear her in and being able to say no. That means you need to be on guard, for the first, couple of months, so you can really understand and get to know who you have. So, yeah, definitely, Lindsay's family definitely influenced that decision.
Yeah, definitely hear what you're saying. I mean, I think, Seaway kind of touched on it as well. Like, I definitely saw the other couples, especially as well, and we'll kind of address that as we go on, kind of lean into these words from the family. But I think what it really did show us is that how important people are taking the words of family to build a narrative, because if you see, first of all, season 14, I'm surprised people haven't taken more words of the family earlier anyway. But, if you sit in front of family and they tell me what they said about Lindsay, I'm gonna be concerned. I'm gonna be highly concerned, right? Sharp tongue, needs to reel it in. You need to tell her no. Like, yo, they're not positive traits like what we're hearing. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's tough not. It's tough to just ignore the words that are being said by family and not take it on. As we saw with Jasmine. But you know what? As soon as Jasmine heard that, I knew she was going to take it on. I think that's her natural disposition, but we'll discuss that later on. But yeah, with the Lindsay situation, I think Mark just needs to just literally, if he's going to make this work, there needs to be some level of boundaries being implemented, and he can't be a yes man. Yeah. That no stuff is good. We need them to hold it down. Do you know what I mean? But definitely family influenced him. He looked shocked as well towards the end as well when they were talking. The fact that your dad says that she's what he said, sharp mouth and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I would be really, I would really be looking at it, you know, some way. So I don't blame Mark or anything like that. Go for it, Corey.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with you on that. I think Mark has to be very patient. He has to really tread carefully too, because Lindsay doesn't strike me as the type of person that's like to be told what to do, like to be told what she can and can't say, how she can say it. She comes off very much like she's her own woman.
Yeah.
So that may be the reason why she had to come to Married at First Sight in the first place.
Yeah.
But I think Mark is in a tough situation because to tether those lines between, okay, I want to tell my wife what it is, but how's she going to receive it? How can I not make an outside issue an inside issue? So I think that's something he's going to have to really, really be careful with.
I'm definitely with you on that, bro. Definitely with you on that. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how he handles it for the next few weeks. Yeah, I don't know. It's I keep saying I don't know, but I do know. Do you know what it is about Lindsay? If we listen to her story, problems with her dad, problems with her mum. Not saying that's her fault, but she has described her situation as problems with mum, problems with dad. That means you are left alone. Probably what's happened is she's been left alone for a long time. Super independent. I do what I want whenever I want. I say what I want, whatever I say, right? And you know, you almost get beguiled by the constant jokes that she always makes, right? You're thinking, oh, Lindsay's just a character. She's fun to be around, da 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 da. But this is the problem that I'm concerned with Lindsay, is that the drop from that to those sharp words is where someone will be like, I don't know if I can handle this, right? If her disposition wasn't so bubbly up there, that drop is not so high when you come down here. And people can take that. But when the drop is so vast that you can go from but as soon as you don't get your way, you start annihilating people with words, or you come out like this with the Olajuwon situation, and you come out and say what you said. People are gonna look at you really different. Like, wait, we're getting two different sides of you. That's too much. The drop is too much. So, you know, something to consider. I mean, I don't know how Mark gonna deal with it, but it's Mark's thing in it. He gonna have to handle that. You feel me? What are you saying, Sean?
Yeah, I was going to say just her behavior overall has been very erratic. You know what I mean? Like, if you think about even up to the wedding day, she was drinking profusely. Then she wound up, dropping her top and her boobs were out. You know, like her behavior is a little all over the place. Then she's laying across the park bench in her wedding dress. Like, it's unfortunate, but I don't think she's ready to be to be married, because she's not fully stable. She's all over the place and constantly getting into conflict. And I briefly touched on it, but remember, even at the bachelorette party, she was talking behind Alyssa's back and making nasty comments about her after meeting her for 5 minutes. So I think she just is a very conflict-driven person. So whether it's with Olajuwon, whether it's with Alyssa, she's always going to be getting into things. And you touched on something that I was thinking about. It's when you get these people that develop these personas, that's when you know it's a problem, because people get so accustomed to saying, oh, that's Lindsay. Lindsay is fill in the blanks. She's just a little, hurricane. There's Hurricane K and this one, and all these different personas. We're not, people aren't being held accountable. They're just allowed to be and exist, and everybody just laughs while they make a fool and cause problems. And then there's destruction in the wake. So yeah, I think she's just going to be hella entertaining for us, and
Yeah.
that's why she was chosen, because we know what maths does, right? So she's going to be a lot of entertainment for us to watch, but she's going to be hell in a marriage because she has no self control.
And do you know what's also going to be a thing? Oh, sorry, Corey, I'll let you go in a second. I think what happens also as well, that when you're in a relationship, you are more vulnerable, and do you know what it is as well? When people are vulnerable, pressure sets in, because once you're now naked, this is the real me. And I think Mark kind of said it in previous episodes. He wants to see the real her. He wants to see beyond just the laugh and the jokes. What's the real her? And I'm wondering if she can even get to that space just yet without help. You know what I mean? Because that relationship, the marriage is not going to go far if she can't be transparent in that way. So I'm wondering if she can actually be that vulnerable in the relationship and be transparent and let that relationship blossom and grow further. I'm not sure if she can. I don't know if she can't. You know what I mean? Like, it's up for debate at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. Corey, what are you saying?
Yeah, it wasn't anything much. I just wanted to piggyback off what Sean had said. With everyone pretty much egging her on as far as her behavior, telling her it's okay. It's just her. It's just who she is. That's excusing that behavior. So that's what's going to make it even harder for them to have that conversation about trying to control that type of behavior, because now she's going to be thinking that he's wrong because everyone else is okay with it. Everyone else has been showing that they don't care how she behaves or it doesn't affect them anymore. They become numb to it. So going into this new environment, anyone saying anything other than what her family and her closest friends are saying, she's going to say that person is wrong. So yeah, he's up a uphill battle.
Definitely hearing that. All right, let's switch lanes. We're going to go on to Alyssa now. Alyssa with Chris. I'm asking the question, is Alyssa wrong? I mean, she doesn't fancy him. She doesn't find him attractive. Is she wrong for feeling that particular way? You know what I mean? We didn't crucify Ryan when he didn't necessarily find Brett attractive. So is Alyssa wrong for what she said?
Wait, now did something happen between the Zadia interview and now where you had a mental lapse?
Listen,
What do you mean we didn't
Zadia's in my
crucify
veins
Ryan?
right now. Zadia's in my veins right now, brother.
I need you to purge, purge, brother. Because what in the entire universe? We were out here on a ledge trying to say it was okay for Ryan to not be into Brett.
It's true.
And he was like, "Oh, does he think he's all of that? He thinks he's gonna get a Playboy model. He's not blah 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 blah." And meanwhile, he wasn't a tenth as rude as Alyssa was. A tenth is rude. You know what I'm saying? This woman, she can have her preference, not like what she wants to like, but it's the rudeness for me. It's the gaslighting for me. It's the, oh, you're not supposed to tell my parents. It was a conversation we had in private. What, ma'am? Are you serious? Did you realize you came on a whole reality show? Have you watched like one episode of Married at First Sight to get a glimpse as to what the experience is going to be like? And lady, first of all, you walked out in some dumb cowboy boots. You think you're the prize? Come on.
Oh, Sean, you give me sweetness. See what you saying.
I mean, everyone around her knows she's a horrible person. What I got from her mother's meeting with Chris, she felt very bad for him. And she even tried to be like, look, she really, really deserves a good person. Now, that's a reach. And, I would really hope that she would give you a chance because she knows good and well what type of daughter that she has. And that's the reason why Alyssa didn't want him to be honest with her parents or with her mother, because everyone around, she doesn't want her mother to really know how bad of a person she is. Look, no one has I have a slight problem with you not giving your husband a chance if you signed up on Married at First Sight, because if you wanted a baddie, if you wanted a super handsome person, you should have went out there and picked him yourself. But if you're going on Married at First Sight, the idea is that you're supposed to allow the experts to take the wheel and see what's best for you. That's the idea. And if you're not cool with that idea because you already know what they do, they like to play in people's face, then you should not sign up, because it's not fair to be legally married to another person and sign up for this process and then not want to go through with it. But we all have free will, right? If you don't want to go through with it, that's fine. But don't gaslight the man. Don't ask the man, do you think I'm a liar? Yes, you're a liar because you didn't give this process a chance. Just say that. You don't have to be mean, like why per se, I'm not into it, but just say, you know what, I'm not into it. The attractive level is not there. The personality level is just not there. You don't need to go into why, his teeth, all this type of stuff. That's just being mean. But then he knows that he's able to disconnect, because he's sitting here on the other side like, should I be fighting for this marriage? Should I try to push through? What should I do? If she's just like, look, it's a no for me. These are the reasons. You can go your separate way. I can go mine. Then we're good. What I don't respect about her is she's talking about, I just want to make the most of this process like they're on vacation. I just want to make the most of our time here. Like this is for Kiki. This is a marriage. Like if you don't want the man, let him go. But don't be talking about we can just make the most of this 8 weeks so you can get your check for the show. No respect. She just needs to go her own way and let him be free. Then I would respect her a little more. She wants her check though, and I can't respect that. Then you want to torture this man in the process because you think you deserved Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. No, ma'am.
Totally hearing you. Koi, talk to me, bro.
Yeah, so for me, when it comes to Alyssa, I don't have a problem with her not liking, what's his name? Chris. I don't have a problem with her not liking him. My issue with her is the fact that she's not trying. And then when she met with the family, she didn't have anything to ask. That showed me she wasn't trying. Ask any questions about him to see if there's something about his personality you may like. She was listening for something negative. And when she got that one thing that was negative, she held on to it. Oh, I have to be second to his job? Why would he put you first? What have you done to deserve first place throughout your interaction with him so far? So to me, I think her whole thought process as far as going on a trip, for her to say, yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out with the cast, and not saying, hey, I want to get to know you better. I want to get to understand who you are as a person better, so maybe we can become tighter. That was a problem for me. You know, she making it all about the trip and having fun outside of him. The comments that she made, hey, I'll be on the beach, but you don't have to be on the beach. You go and do whatever you want to do. I'll be fine. I'm good where I am. You know, little things like that. To me, I feel like, I want to be honest with you. There are some people, okay, there's a demographic of people who feel like they deserve something more than what they are, okay, than what their level is. Okay, I'm being real honest with you. To me, she is not a very attractive woman. That's my own personal view when it comes to her. So I don't think that she has much of a push to look for that, what C-Wade saying, that Brad Pitt or, you know, Harry Belafonte, whatever she wants. You know, I don't think that that she should be having her demands so high. You know, I'm surprised. I'm not going to do that. So I just think that, I'm sorry, guys. I just think that her way about doing it is disrespectful to the guy. You know he's trying. You know he wants to give this a real crack, but you're not giving him anything. And that night before when they were talking, she was like, something was said that I don't want to talk about. I think we should sleep on it. And how can he sleep on it? He don't know what's going on. And she used that night to think of something, an easier way to soften that blow for him. And I think she's going about it the completely wrong way, and it's very immature.
I'm with you guys. You know what? It's interesting because, yeah, I think with the Alyssa situation, I think what's really problematic is the fact that I think that the difficulty is she just the way she goes about it. You know what I mean? Like if you gonna reject somebody, there's a way to do it. I don't disagree with her attraction. If she even just said she wasn't even going through the wedding, I wouldn't have had a problem. I'd have been okay, cool. If she, even after she realized, okay, do you know what, maybe I can't do this, and said to him politely, listen, I'm so sorry. Do you know what the truth of the matter is? I'm not attracted to you, and I'm struggling to make this process work. I'm going to be honest with you. Then he has no leg to stand on to be able to say anything to her. My problem here is that this actually shows her actual true abilities, right? Because look at the situation now. When a situation is given to you like this, where you have to make a choice that's going to be a little bit difficult, what do you plan on doing? And instead of her being truthful and it being hard and potentially it could be a little bit painful of a truth, she chooses to manipulate. Now that's a character. That shows us how you're going to operate in a healthy relationship, because you are happy to when chips get tough to manipulate. You know what I mean? And in this situation, all it required was for you to say to oh boy, listen, I am not feeling you and I'm not attracted to you. I'm so sorry. I don't think it's going to work. But because you wanted to look like the good person, because, you didn't want to, I don't know if you had ideas of staying on a show, whatever your agenda was, you've now concocted a whole bunch of story to try and make him the bad person. When he called you out and said you're a liar about your thingy, you were lying. Come on, baby, come on, you was lying. And for her to sit on the couch and say, I can't believe it, because you called me a liar. And, for you to sit there and tell me blah, 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 blah. I said, yeah, this girl was doing all the manipulation tactics to make herself now a victim when she was the one that was wrong about the way she went about it. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm watching her movements. I'm like, Alyssa, I don't like the way you're moving. I'll be honest with you. I don't like the way you're moving. I don't think you're a sensible candidate at this particular time and moment. What are you saying, Sean?
Yeah, but the setup to the lie was they were having a conversation, and this is where the complete manipulation came into play, is because he told her, I don't feel like you're giving us or this process a fair chance. Yeah. And she's like, well, yes, I am. What do you mean? And he was like, no, you're not. And he gave a couple examples. And she was like, so are you calling me a liar? And he says, well, if you're saying you did that, yes, you're a liar, because I didn't see that. All I see is you complain. All I see is you talk about the things you don't like. So no, you're not giving the chance to process. And then she used that as an opportunity to storm out. Fast forward to her appearance on the after party with Keisha Knight Pulliam, and she asked her flat out, why would you come on a reality show knowing that questions are going to be asked of you? And then she also asked her, would you do anything different based on as you're seeing things now? She says, no, I can't see I would do anything different. And when Rudy pressed her a little more to ask her why would she come on a show if she's not comfortable talking about, certain things in her personal life and the marriage, she's like, I will not do this. And she stormed off and walked out again.
Oh.
So she's a track star. She's a runner. She's a track star. That's another. Seaway mentioned it too earlier. Another semi-Karen moment. Let's use our white tears. Let's weaponize the white tears. Now I have the white fragility. Because you've asked me too many tough questions. You're making me think about my actions. Maybe I actually made a mistake. Hello, is that possible for a human being to make an error? Not Alyssa. She's far above reproach and errors. That's her. I think she has a very pompous attitude, and the way she stepped on the scene, like it was all about her. 10 wedding dresses picked out. She can't have a man with snaggly teeth. And then MAFS does what they do, zoom in on the cameras, show his teeth. They match her with somebody trying to push her on what she says she doesn't want. And then she completely combusts. Yeah, I'm done with her. Done with her completely. And the parents know. They know. And she's entitled and tolerated. And that's what the problem is.
I'm totally hearing you. Totally hearing you. I get it. I get it. Yeah, no, it's crazy on that situation. Like you said, the gaslighting that she did as well, problematic. Yeah, too much. All right, cool. Let's shift the conversation away from. But do you know what? It's interesting as well. Maybe we can talk about this really quickly as well. The family trying to save the marriage because I think someone mentioned it that the mum, even the friend were like they literally told him, oh, she just needs time. The honeymoon. I'm like, baby, y'all know that she don't need time. Y'all know that she is not feeling old boy. Okay, y'all know this. All right, mommy, your daughter is a bit of a crook. Okay, friend, your friend is too piqué. She ain't never gonna choose his brother. Don't sell him a lie and act like he's going to if he goes on a honeymoon, she's gonna change. She's not gonna change. She's not feeling him. You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys thought about the family getting involved and kind of giving that advice. And he was giving her 1% whatever situation. Like, if I get 1%, then I was like, brother, if you get 1%, you gonna stick it all the way out? I was like, nah, brother. What was your guys' thoughts?
I mean, they're just being hopeful. I mean, it's a little selfish, a little hopeful, but if your friend or daughter really ain't crap, but you pray deep down they will be, right? I mean, she's already married, so they're probably just like, hey, maybe she'll come around for her sake. That's what I got out of it. I mean, are they sending him off? For sure. But I think their mind is in the place of like, maybe she'll magically become a better person, just work with her. Yeah. And they probably also don't realize how checked out she is.
Yeah.
The mother for sure doesn't. I don't know about the friend. The friend looked like she knew more than she was letting on. But the mother for sure doesn't realize, like this girl's already like done. Not just kind of done, like she's done. So that's what I think about it.
Yeah, I get the vibe that the family was giving the signal of, just work with her in a sense of she's your problem now. Do not return to sender type of situation. That's what I got because they're trying to tell her, hey, it can work out. I think she just needs some more time. And every information he was coming up with, he was like, hey, if she gives me 1%, I can work with 1%. And saying that, they were like, yeah, work with that 1%. Who else is going to do that? Who else is going to say that they will work with 1%? I definitely need more than 1%. So they were telling him everything that he was saying. They were throwing it back at him. Yeah, believe whatever you're saying. Believe your lies. Keep lying to yourself. Keep thinking that this is going to work. No, sir. She told you there was no vibe without a vibe even being brought up. I mean, you not even try to have a vibe. So it's definitely a physical thing for her. Again, I understand you have to have someone across the aisle to look at that's going to be somewhat attractive to you. But in this situation, because you don't have that, you got to find something else to try to make this work. And the fact she's not trying to do that, that's a problem.
Yeah, I hear that 100%. Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I would say too. And notice that when he was trying to placate her, she was like, oh, he's just being a yes man. So she was looking for any way to just knock him down. Anything this guy tried to do, he was like, okay, we'll try this. Oh, this is what you want to do on a vacation? Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, let's try this. Now she doesn't want anything this guy said, she was going to knock it down. She had already made up her mind, which is fine. But again, it's the way she's going about it. And the family, they were just trying, to me, it looked like they were just trying to soften the blow because they could already know. They know she was spinning around in circles. They were like, well, you just got to give her room. You got to let her be. Yeah, you just let her be. No, he needs to let her all the way be. As soon as she said she marched out of that room, when they tried to meet up in the morning, I'd have been like, all right, take care. Listen, all the best. It looks like it's not working out. I wish you the very best. You take care. because I will not be tortured. I will not have it. For somebody to play around with me, lie, try to spin it back on me, make me the problem. But again, I still think there's a little bit of it be your own friends. Like, what is with the advice of his friends? Like, I think people don't think, like, really, I know I'm showing unfiltered, but you need to have a filter even more so, because I thought about this. I'm like, these people, this isn't a regular marriage where this is my wife and we just got married, but we've known each other for 2 years. So I might get some advice from one of her friends or family members, but I can compare it to my own experiences. These people are just giving this, it's a blank canvas. So they're almost painting the picture with whatever advice is being told. And you saw how that showed up in a couple of different couples. So I don't know if producers are telling them to say specific things, but they need to really be careful about what they say to people, because it allows them to paint that image because they don't have anything else to draw from. So I think some of these people are just shooting. They're just bumping their gums. They're not thinking about what I'm telling this person, they don't have anything to base this off. So they're trusting me as somebody who knows this person very well. So they're going to take the advice to heart. And I think several of the family members really weren't thoughtful about how they gave some of the advice.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. I definitely hear what you're saying, bro. Definitely. I mean, me personally, I don't want to be with anybody who I have to convince to be with me. I'm not trying to win you over when you don't like me already. Yeah. We need to do better. Look, we said this last time with Merla, and we said it early on in last season. I said, we're not trying to convince you. We're not jumping over walls. We ain't doing it. Okay? The brother needs to quit about 1%. No, you don't need to be on 1% to even agree to that. If she's giving you this energy now, it's okay. Let us go our own separate way. There are people that do actually want you. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not about to try and win you over. Do you know what I mean? Yes, David, we're not breaking down any walls, okay? In 2022, we're not jumping over any walls. We are not here for it. We will not have it. We will not have it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm definitely... definitely with you guys on that as well. And there's one last thing I want to say about her, what she said to him, the yes man thing. So what's really interesting, again, just to put it out there again, I know she cussed him for being a yes man, but let's also again be honest again here as well. What do we say all the time? You cannot be that guy that says yes to everything. You must have boundaries as a man, especially. Look, see how she said he's a yes man. She had no respect for him. What she's really saying is, I would have had a level of respect if you didn't let me trample over you. That's what she said. But though she said yes, he's a yes man, she was basically saying, listen, I would have had more respect for you if you had told me, you know what, I'm not about to do everything you want to do. I'm going to enjoy myself, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because we say this sometimes, that sometimes women like Alyssa, they will happily trample over you if you give them space to. Do you know what I mean? So as a gentleman, I hope you're watching this, guys. You got to set good boundaries, and don't let no girl run you to the ground where you are begging for their attention. You're begging for them to even just give you a crumb of love. Let's not be in that position. Do you know what I'm saying? Old girl told him what it was. All right, cool. Let's shift the conversation again. Let's talk about another couple. Let's talk about are we calling him a Dusty or not? Because they had no problem calling our black brothers Dusty last season. Are we calling Stevie a Dusty then? Because let's Stevie, what do you say?
I said, let's see where it go.
Seaway, is your boy a Dusty now?
I mean, like I said last week, I wanted to wait and get a better insight into his mentality before I labeled him a Dusty. But from what I've seen on this episode, it is giving quite Dusty. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because, one, when your own dad basically calls you a bum on national TV, that's pretty telling. And his dad pretty much did that. But two, when he was asked about his plans about getting a job and being stable, I mean, he pretty much said, I need to wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see, like wait and see if you're gonna get a job. I mean, what I really wanted to wait, I wanted to wait and see last week if when he was questioned about his job, whether he was gonna say, yeah, like I took a 4-month break, but I'm back on the job scene, and I have a couple interviews in the pipe, and I'm about to, I'm looking for full-time employment and things like that, and I believe I should have something soon. Versus what he said is, I'm freelancing. First of all, what does that mean? Are you making money freelancing? That just seems like something to say. And that you really don't know when you're gonna be getting a real job again. He just didn't seem that pressed, and he didn't seem like he had a plan. And so for me to sign up for Married at First Sight, with no real plans of serious employment, I just don't know what his purpose in that is. And I also think this is the producers yet again playing games, because she asked for someone who was stable, and they literally gave her the opposite of stability. And they could have gave him somebody who's okay with his freelancing, job here, job there type of vibe. Instead, they gave him a woman that asked for stability. That's wrong. That's a lifestyle difference, and that's going to have severe, consequences. So, someone saying freelancers are like contractors. Yeah, but we don't really know if he's actually a freelancer, because people got mad at me because we're supposedly taking this man of limited colors words for gold, and we didn't give Gil the same deference. So I'm going to have to look into what he's saying the same way I looked into that 401k in Colombia. Him all of a sudden saying that he's a freelancer seems like a bit of a stretch to me. And Gil is by far from vindicated. I don't know if people saw Mirla's interview, but it really says everything that needs to be said. That man was spending his rent money on IG flexing. He is not vindicated. He is just as dusty as he's always been. If you're 30-something years old spending your rent money while allowing your wife who's paying double rent to pay y'all rent, you are as dusty as they come. So that just is what it is. But this dude is also giving very, very questionable, very dust-filled, to not have any interest in having a job. And I don't believe if he was a real freelancer, his dad would not be talking trash about him on national TV. Everything is pointing to the fact that this man does not have a real job and has no intent on having a real job. I mean, freelancers is fine. I think Kojo counts as a freelancer. There's nothing wrong with being a freelancer. There's nothing wrong with working for yourself. People make a lot of money. That's what you're really doing. But don't say you're a freelancer when you really just don't have a job. So anybody who wants to call the man dusty, I wouldn't object.
C-Way.
Yeah.
C-Way for president.
But saying Gil is vindicated. Oh my God.
Listen, ain't nobody talk about Gil. Don't take it back. Just keep going. You in the right direction. Ain't nobody dragging Gil in this. Gil ain't got nothing to do with this. Y'all called him dusty.
You dragged Gil into it.
No, I did not. I said nothing about Gil. I just said today, I said, are we going to call it dust to dust?
No, I forgot, because you try to get the comment section on me acting like I called a black man a dusty, but I didn't call the man of limited color a dusty. And it's like, no. The black man was called a dusty because he was full of dust. And now with the facts that I have, this man of limited color is going to also be called a dusty too, because it looks like he doesn't want to have a job, yet he wants a wife. So.
Yep. And I didn't single you out. So you're not singled out by yourself. It was in general how this guy got so much, You know, he got so much rope to determine whether he was Dusty. And I just don't feel like when it comes to us black dudes, yeah, no, people are a little more reserved before they throw that word out. And that's exactly why when we were all into the calling Gil Dusty is why I was like, nah, it's not a good word, because typically it's how we refer to black men. And I think like this was a prime example when it came to Steve. Everybody held off, and people are still holding off because they're like, oh, he has investments. Oh, he has this. Meanwhile, his own father called him a vagabond. And I appreciate you, Seaway, and many others who are acknowledging like, hey, listen, he's not giving stability. You know what I mean? He's not giving stability. He looked at her when she was like, so what are you thinking about a job? He was like, well, we'll see how we go. We'll see how we figure things out and where we go. Bro, you want to be carefree and footloose and fancy free? You do that being single. Because when you're single, you can, fly to the whims of your own. You can do all that. But when you want to be married, you're talking about having kids, you need to be stable, not flying around in your RAV4 up and down the East Coast of the United States. Come on. It's laughable. His own younger brother, who was like a little, hipster kid in his 20s, was like, bro, she's going to be looking for you to have a job. So if anybody in that family, and this is not directed at you, Seaway, but anybody that's like questioning, oh, there's money out there, his own family wouldn't be saying, bro, you need a job. Bro, you're a vagabond, if they knew this man was sitting on stacks. And again, I will remind everyone, I don't know if anybody I know, Kojo, you're not in the US. I don't know what the foreign markets are doing, but if you've looked at the S&P, if you've looked at the NASDAQ, stocks are all over the place. You at your old age of, not old, but like at the very grown age, I'll rephrase that, at the very grown age of 37 plus years old, looking to be married, you need to have income, steady income coming into your house. You are not at the level where you can rely on savings, because those savings rates fluctuate. They don't match the rate of inflation. You need to have money. So unless he won the Powerball, Steve needs to get a job.
Yeah, to me, I think that Steve, I agree with you guys that I don't know if Dusty, but he's very irresponsible, because how can you sit in front of someone's family and say, the situation that I'm in right now in this marriage, freelancing is the best thing for me to do right now. How? You have bills to pay. You have responsibilities within a side of marriage. So I don't get how he can think that that's okay. But I do think that Steve is doing an age-old trick. This age-old trick where a man tries to woo the woman with personality, because he's saying all the right things. She loves everything he said. She's like, from what I can tell, there is nothing about this relationship that makes me feel like it's going to end. Oh, but there is one thing, that job. So he's doing everything right when it comes to talking to her, when it comes to being close to her, when it comes to building that bond with her. He's doing a great job at that. But when it comes to that job, that's where everything's going to fall apart. I don't know if he got into this situation so he could mooch off of a woman, off his wife. I'm thinking maybe taking it too far to say that, but I can't say for him to say that freelancing is perfectly fine. He's perfectly comfortable with being in that situation while being married. There's something wrong with that picture. So, yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you guys when it comes to Steve. Yeah, he is giving off someone who's not very responsible.
Bro, I'm hearing you guys, man. Listen, I would never call him a Dusty, really. Do you know what I mean? But he Dusty, okay? If we're going to label Gil Dusty, he is the dust of the dust collector, okay? All right? The brother, the dad said, listen, when your dad calls you a vagabond, I want you to understand, I haven't heard that word since I was a kid. My dad would tell me, don't be a vagabond. Meaning, don't be a person who just moves around aimlessly, going from to and fro, okay? Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't have something in hand, but we haven't seen it yet. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a vagabond. He needs a job. Okay? All right? You need a stable income. maybe not even a job, but a stable income, something that is coming through regularly, so we can understand. And and maybe the show is doing him a disservice. I'm gonna leave that open, right? Maybe the show is doing a disservice. But if they're asking you a question about what your plan is, a man who is financially astute, has financial acumen. You guys were using this against Gil last season. He would be able to tell you the plan. He can't tell you one because he hasn't got one. Right? He can't tell you that. He hasn't got one. You know? So, listen, whether he was intentional or unintentionally unemployed, he's unemployed. And it's not conducive to having, a family in future. Why and why intentionally make yourself unemployed knowing you're coming on the show? You know what I mean? That's irresponsible. If that's not Dusty, I don't know what Dusty is, but we can leave the Dusty away now. Now, I just think it's irresponsible for him to be able to come on the show and not have a plan and to be without a job. And when I say job, it doesn't have to be necessarily a 9 to 5, but a job that seemingly plays regularly. We're not seeing that from him. What are you saying, Siwe?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I did want to comment that I don't think waiting an episode or two is giving someone a lot of rope. I do think that we should, before we just comment on people and things and call them Dusty, I do think if we are resorting to name calling, because I thought last season we were told that we were not to name call anymore, but since we're back to the name calling, I guess I do think you should reserve that for actually, after you watch a few episodes, because at the end of the day, we still are not getting the 100% picture of these people. But from what we do know, and what his family who get nothing out of being honest or dishonest, we do know that, like Corey Black said, at minimum, it's extremely irresponsible. And I just don't know if he's going to try to be getting money from her, from the show. Like, what's the game plan? Because it's just going to get worse, from here.
And by the way, we're not back to name calling. We are really being more facetious in the sense of we dealt with this last season. It didn't take long before Gil got the whole Dusty narrative. So we're almost being in the sense of we're waiting to hear the exact same thing for Steve. I don't want to call him Dusty. I don't like that word. I don't think it's an appropriate word. So it's more of a case we're just kind of being a bit facetious and a bit funny with it, in the sense of the fact that he seemingly didn't have a job whilst being on the show. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I think that's why we should I'm trying to do my best just to move on from that word, unless I really see something. And Steve is giving us something. I'm not saying he ain't giving us something. He's giving us a lot to work with at this point. But
what's he giving you? No. See, what's he giving you?
Don't tap dancing, backpedal now.
I ain't tap dancing or backpedaling. I don't do that.
Siwe, what has he given you?
I'm talking about something not good.
Oh, okay.
Good.
I was gonna say
y'all are ready. Y'all sitting on ready. You and Sean. I ain't backpedaling.
I didn't think you were backpedaling. I'm just saying, what is he giving? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know what he's given. He's for now, from what we've seen in the last 4 episodes, he hasn't got a job, and that's the problem. He hasn't got steady income, and we need that, and that's just that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to explain why Gil is Dusty for the 5 billionth time.
You don't need to.
Oh my gosh! Why do we keep going backwards to Gil? Let it go. Let
Gil keep asking. People keep asking. Go back and watch the old. Go give Kojo some more reviews and go watch the old.
We don't need to revive or talk about anybody from past seasons only as a reference point. We don't need to, restate cases, go on appeal. We got it. He is who he is. I'm not trying to defend Gil. What I'm saying is I want us to be equal opportunity, and like Kojo said, we're going to have a little fun with it. But yeah, we need to be equal opportunity. We usually don't give everybody else that license. We see something, we say something. That's how it goes. And then we compare and contrast with, sometimes it's past experiences, sometimes it's with inferences, sometimes with a little bit of facts. So everything that I was seeing up until the very first episode was giving somebody that could be classified in that category. But I'm not fighting on a hill for it, but I just think, like, let's just call it what it is. It is what it is.
He looks like the kind of guy that wants to chop on her money.
Yep.
Does he?
No, he doesn't. But that's the point.
I was
Like
gonna
that's
say, we did. How do we get that far?
But that's what we experience. This is why I'm being facetious. That is what we experienced last season. People make these huge grand jumps and leaps. He just wants to spend her money, and that's never been said.
Oh,
That's what we're doing right now.
Sounds like we were right though.
No, we weren't right. He never wanted to chop her money.
We weren't right.
You weren't right.
How are
He
you
never-
trying to get?
She's taking
Gil
you down a
never-
rabbit hole, Kojo. Don't do it. Circumstantial evidence.
How do you
Remember
spend
that.
your-
Don't go down that rabbit hole with her.
How do you spend your rent money on chains and clothes and expect you're a woman who's already going 50-50 with you? Should be doing that anyway. She's already going 50-50 with you. Then you have the nerve to spend your half of the rent money on IG flexing?
How did you work that out?
Tamara Tattletales had an interview with Mirla, so
And it was
clearly
good,
Seaway
Kojo.
did some research earlier.
Oh,
But-
listen. I asked for Miller to come on here and have an interview. She declined. Do you know why? Because I would have called it out. You're not gonna run me like that. We know why you went on that show. I'm gonna say anything else. Listen, you guys have made circumstantial evidence for Gil for the whole season, and we're here again. That's what I'm saying to you. Listen, you're not doing the exact same thing for this gentleman. This is why I'm being facetious about it, because we're not doing the exact same thing. We are giving him leeway after leeway because that's not how we treat black men. I'm just gonna say it straight. That's not how. This is not what we see. It didn't take long. It honestly did not take long. Maybe not on this channel. But from what I saw on the YouTube streets, it did not take long. It was quick before they said Gil's dusty, and he wanted to spend someone's money, right? And even what you said about what he said, I'm like, all right, cool, all right, it is what it is, isn't it? If it is, that's what his case is. Well, then do the exact same for this gentleman here. No plan, vagabond from his own parents. Call it what it is. This is a whole Miller who couldn't even tell on another interview why she really felt the way she felt. Anyway, listen, let's go to the next one, man. Let's go to the next one, man. You guys are killing me, man. Let's go to the next one, man. Let's go to the next one. We're gonna talk about what's his name? Freaking now. What's going on my head? It wasn't Jasmine and Park, it was the other one. Who's the last one? Before Jasmine.
And
Yes, Katina and Elijah. Katina and Elijah. You know what? I'm not feeling them. I am not feeling them one bit. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling them one bit. Okay.
Olu, you gave him a shortened name, huh?
Yeah, Olu, that's his name from now on because he's got the Nigerian in him. Listen, I'm not feeling him one bit. Okay, that boy is. He has not. I don't think he's using marriage as I'm going to change. Not that he's changed before then, but it looks like marriage has come to a place where he's now coming to change. I'm not really feeling it. I'm guessing her madness is going to come later on. I haven't really seen it as such. She doesn't trust people very easily. She's got a best friend that was running Olu into the ground, which became a little bit of a standoff as well. I'm just not feeling. And his responses are really concerning for me. Like if I say to you, you ask her, you don't trust nobody, and it's like, you don't trust nobody, like brother, you just gotta say, listen, hey, I'm a trustworthy person. You can trust me. It's that simple. No, he would choose someone else. He'll be like, you don't trust nobody? Like, nah, you need to work on that. That's a fear. You need to don't. And I'm like, bro, you're not convincing anybody that way, bro. But hey, who am I? Who am I to say anything? Seaway, what's your thoughts? I know you're gonna have some strong opinions on this, brother. What's your thoughts on the Katina and the it's an Ola situation? I put Olu.
You know what? Surprisingly, my feelings aren't as strong as they probably could be.
Oh damn!
I think Olajuwon is showing some red flags the way he talks about this experience. Yes. I will say he seems to be talking about it as if it's like something that he's trying out. But on the flip side, he does seem to be very serious about it in his head for now. I do get sincerity from when he speaks. I don't feel like he's trying to mislead people by his sincerity. I think that he believes that this is a serious moment. Now, do I trust his follow through? No. And I think what the friend brother picked up is something that maybe is easier to pick up in person than what we're really getting from the screen. But I think in person, you know, another man especially can pick up that he's giving very surface level answers. His answers don't seem very deep, and I think it's because he may not be super deep. That may be
Mm.
a hard thing for people to wrap their mind around, but everyone's not super deep, and he doesn't strike me as a very super deep person. But honestly, neither does Katina, if I'm gonna keep it 100. She doesn't seem, you know, super deep, you know, herself. Um, and I think she sees what, you know, what we can see. I think she wants to believe that he means well, but something in her spirit is like, I'm not easing up just yet, you know, and I don't really blame her for that aspect. So I'm not going to drag Olajuwon. I think that he, so far, I just don't think he understands the severity of this process from the way he talks about it, and I think that's going to lead to some more red flags down the road. But you know, I hope he's able to live up to his intentions.
Mm.
I don't think he's like Frank out here just misleading people. I don't think he's doing that.
Yeah.
But he may be misleading himself. I will say, I think Katina is going to run into some issues running to be like this ride or die chick for Olajuwon. She just seemed really eager to jump on the I hate, you know, old girl train. Not saying she wasn't annoying, but she just seemed real immature. The whole thing was just very immature to me, the way she handled it in particular. And so if she's less mature than Olajuwon, I'm afraid for both of them. And that's how it looked. And that's kind of scary for how they're going to process things in the future. So that's what I think.
Totally hear you. Go for it. Whoever's next, Corey or Sean, go for it.
Okay, yeah. So, to me, I don't think he understands the trials and tribulations of a relationship. So he doesn't understand the relationship aspect of it now. But he's married. He definitely won't be able to understand the marriage concept of being able to be together. And I think his inexperience, he's very defensive with it when he met with the family by him saying, "Hey, if you think I'm full of it, just tell me I'm full of it." I mean, why are you so defensive? Why are you hopping to that right now? I know you felt like her friend was giving you a little heat, but he's trying to make you understand that this is something serious, not something you can just play with. I think he looks at her beauty. I think he speaks on her beauty a bit much. And to me, she's a beautiful woman, no doubt. But I think he speaks to that too much. Like that's going to be what's going to keep him grounded. But I think the moment that they have something real that comes between them in the relationship, something that comes up that they have to really discuss and get through and work through together, I think that's what's going to really test him to see how serious he is about this because he hasn't had to experience that before. He went from one woman to the next, to the next, to the next. Who's to say that he didn't do that? When times got rough, he hopped ship. We don't know that. So I think that's what's going to be left to see from everybody who's watching.
Go for it, Sean.
Sure. So, definitely, I'm in alignment with what Seaway and Corey shared. I think that um, we see some immaturity there, definitely with Elijah, and I think we just have a whole lot of cast of characters this season with all the alter egos. He had Isaac. you know he just seems very eager beaver. He's another like show pony, which made me concerned when he was grinding on his wife at the wedding ceremony, like literally stripping down and grinding his junk on her leg in front of the whole entire family to see. Like, bro, every moment is not for you to be seen. I think he needs to grow up, but he has like this, and I guess that's what he used to get over on the ladies. It's like a boyish charm that he has about him, but then there's also seems like he has a short fuse. So I think he might be a little tick tick boom. He seems to really be into Katina, which is a good thing. I think he is very enamored by her. I don't know if that'll wear off, but he does seem to really like her. I think she seems to like him, but she is also guarded. And it's just odd to me how he wants her to so quickly bring her walls down. He did make a comment, which is why I like waffle back and forth with him, where I think like there's parts of him that are very intentional. And he said this, he said, like when they were laying in bed and they were talking, he says, I don't want to, in so many words, and I'm paraphrasing, he's like, I don't want to have to be the blame or pay for all the things that the other bad guys did to you. Right. And I think there's some, there's some authenticity in that, because I think that's something a lot of us men can identify with when we get into a relationship with a woman that may have had some not so great experiences. We don't want to have to pay for that, right? We understand it. We know that that may have you a little more on guard, but don't make us pay for that they did, right? Give us a clean slate to work off of. So I like that there's parts of him that are intentional, but I'm still concerned if he's really mature enough for this process. Is he really ready? And she also does have a hair trigger, but I'll end it here. Is I like that they can balance each other a little bit, because you saw when she was ready to go after Lindsey, he was calming her down. So it wasn't both of them going on 10. He was like, no, it's okay. And then when they were sitting all the couples together, he was like, this is how she is. She's my wife. She just wants to protect me. And he was like calming her down. Like, we're all here together. We're all getting to know each other. He smoothed it out with Mark. He also apologized, so I think he does have maturity in there. And maybe we are seeing some of the ADHD, but seeing that he's able to manage it. So I think the verdict's not out, but I do see how it could be a recipe for disaster.
I'm hearing you, bro. I'm hearing you. I mean, I like. There's some good things about Ola. I think when he spoke to her about not allowing the energy to flow in her, so that she won't dislike, so she won't have hate for the girl every time she's around her. I thought it was really good energy. I love the fact that Katina did back him also in the beef, because it could have easily been a situation where Karen decides to ruin this boy's career like for nothing. You know what I mean? So I appreciate her standing her ground for him in that sense. I do feel like obviously the friend kind of, the friend was putting pressure on him, by asking those questions. I think he sensed some airy-fairy answers from old boy. I don't know if it may have been just a case of the fact that, like I think Siwe said, he might not be that deep. He just might not be that deep. But I do sense that he's not giving full answers about. I don't know. I think he wants. I do believe he wants to take the process seriously. I just don't know how ready he is to take the marriage. Like, if I will say this, if you've never practiced, behaving, it's gonna be very difficult to behave in a marriage. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't go from not behaving to behaving in a marriage. So I don't know. It's a little bit tough. I think it's a little bit tough to judge him too harshly, because I think it's only been a few episodes in. He hasn't done necessarily too much. But I am with the friend when I was questioning him. I was like, yeah, question his ass, because I want to try something new, sir. This is not the place to come and try something new. This is not and your new is not, I've dated and it's gone wrong. Your one is, I want to try something new, because bruh, you still are getting girls. It's not that you weren't getting girls. Like you said, you didn't have a problem getting girls. The problem was the type of girls. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's gonna make it through, man. Without any scrapes and scars. You know what I'm saying? That too, I can't, say Katina's innocent, but so far she hasn't given me any pause for concern as of yet. So yeah, I don't know if anyone's got any other thoughts around them and around their relationship. No. All right, cool. Let's move on to another. And let's move on to another. Relationship. Let's go on to the last one. Let's go on to Jasmine and Michael, because the argument scene was a bit much, wasn't it, for old girl? She jumped the gun by having information from the family, and it became an argument because she allowed the information to kind of guide her conversation without actually really listening. What was you guys' thoughts around that particular scene that you saw with them two arguing? What was your kind of thoughts around that? Who would like to chop up for us? Go for it, Sean.
Yeah, I think and this is the thing that bothers me a little bit, and I think this is one of the things that maths can be good for, is to just help us to avoid having these arguments about ideas. Because it wasn't an argument that involved either one of them personally. They just started talking about a concept, and then they had a disagreement. It just didn't. It was totally unnecessary. And I think part of it was fueled by them getting to know each other, and then she just didn't like the way he thinks or his thought process, which he's probably, if we had to boil it down just from looking at him, he seems like more of a glass half empty guy. And she is more like a glass half full. So her frustration is that he is anticipating conflict versus she doesn't think that way. But in just as an observer, I don't think that's anything to really argue about. That's just this is the way he thinks. And let's see how it all plays out. And again, I think it's like his family was just trying to give, her some insight into him, some of the things that, he may or may not do. And then he himself said he wanted somebody to challenge him. So maybe this is her way to positively help bring him more to a brighter side of things, right? And I think a healthy relationship with some your spouse, they can do that for you. Like, I think that's the beauty of having a woman like her who thinks like that, is because that can help bring you over to it. But I don't think we need to argue about it. I think we can just influence, is what I would say. So that's my opinion.
I'm with you on that, bro. With you on that. See, we go for it.
I think that disagreement was really enlightening for me about Jasmina, because I know we spent a lot of time talking about how beautiful she is, and she is, right? Very, very stunning, striking, really. But I think that has allowed us to kind of bypass a lot of things that may give us context to her personality. And what I saw here was that she took the information that she got from the family and used it in a very negative way. Because honestly, the conversation started just about the situation in general. And I think what Michael was trying to get across, which is a very easy point to understand, is that when you get to know people and you're in new group settings, boundaries aren't clear. And there's going to be growing pains to getting to know people, whether it's new friends, new job. You just don't know how far you can push it. You don't know the things, how far you can take a conversation. You don't know what rubs it the wrong way. And then Michael tried to kind of correlate it to their relationship, which is where it should have, turned to a more positive conversation, and be like, hey, me and you, we may not always see eye to eye because we don't really understand each other well yet, but it's going to get better the more we know each other and try to respect each other's boundaries. And her response was just like, no, that's not it. I see things half glass, half full. And I just think things positively. And I'm like, well, what he said wasn't negative. He was just talking about what happens in life. If you're paying attention in life, that's what happens in life. And to me, what I gathered from her personality is she seems very uptight, very rigid. And she also doesn't seem like she has the willingness to kind of let things go. She seems like a person who may want to have the last word, the last say. And what I do like is that for everything negative that's been said about Michael, he took that conversation and said, look, hey, he asked God and he asked the experts for someone to challenge him. And that's what he got. Because he could have been like, this girl making a big deal out of nothing. What the hell? But he didn't say it like that. He was like, you know what? I asked for a challenge. I asked to grow. And I hope, even from this situation, it allows me to grow. And I thought that showed a lot about his character, that he took it that way. But the way she kind of like was very rigid about the situation and like gets up and leaves, I'm like, just like my prediction last week, they're not going to make it. They're not going to make it, because that was a really odd way to handle that conversation in that situation. And if you're making something so small, so negative, I don't know. I didn't like that.
Hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah. To me, I think Jasmina comes off as someone who is like, you have to explain yourself to me or explain it to me. I think Michael hit the nail on the head when they were back in the hotel the day after the honeymoon, where he said, when it was coming up about the last name, he said, look, you're just trying to find something to argue about. Why even bringing that up about the last name? You have my last name. What's the problem? So I think that has a lot to do with how things are going to go in their relationship. I think if there is a positive and a negative to any aspect of the relationship, she's going to want to discuss the negative, because she wants you to explain to her exactly what's going on. Now, when it comes to Michael, a little bit outside the argument, when he met with her parents, when he met with her mom, I just want to say that I like that he was honest about, what he's experienced, what he's seen as an example. But at the same time, she came in telling you that she was a little hesitant as far as how this is going to work. So she has concerns. So I'm thinking that he could have easily said that in a different way to bring her a little bit more ease when it comes to what he's going to be doing with her daughter. So I think the mom had a right to feel the way she felt. I think her concerns were valid, but at the same time, I think Michael could have handled that situation a little bit better. But he gets a sense of who the daughter is from the mother. Now, I'm not saying anything negative about the mother, but the mother needed those doubts that she had. She needed some reassurances, right? So her daughter is not that far away from her mother. She needs reassurances as well. Now, is this something that Michael's going to be able to keep up for the duration of the marriage? I don't know. It really depends on how often Jasmina brings things up to him. So that's going to be the test. So I think a few more episodes, we're going to really see how they develop when it comes to arguing, when it comes to disagreements, and not being happy with each other. We want to see how that unfolds. But as of right now, I can't really tell.
Yeah, I think in that scene it was quite interesting, because I think I think what's happened in this scene is that she's over read into the situation. So she's got information from the family and she's kind of read more into that situation. So she's anticipated that this is the moment where he's going to be negative about the situation, and he's seen it as it is. But to be honest, I think he was bang on the money. Now, I think what happened, there's a comment that he makes at the very beginning. I think he says, we'll definitely have conflict or something like that or whatever. And I was like, okay, that comment I think is what set her off. That doesn't give her an excuse. I'm just saying that how the snowball effect happens. And then she says what she says, and then it just kicks it off. And I think just, I didn't think he said anything bad. I think he's made some really good points. It's, hey, look, we are going to have arguments. Where I knew she was triggered is the moment when he said we're going to have arguments, and she said, well, I don't think like that. Well, I don't think about us having problems. That's not what he said. There is no relationship in this world. I'm sorry, there's no relationship in this world where you won't have arguments. If you genuinely care about somebody, you are going to have disagreements. Even as friends, lovers, work colleagues. There is nowhere in this world where you have relations with people that you won't step on their toes. And that's not just a boundary issue. That's an emotional issue. That's the fact that we talk every day and maybe you said something and I didn't like it. I could have been triggered by something. These are normal things in relationships that are always going to be conflict. So the comment about conflict wasn't the issue. The issue was she was triggered, right? She was triggered by the fact that she had heard that from the family earlier on. And I think there's a bit of fear in the way that Jasmina operates in her relationships. And I think that fear doesn't come from her specifically. It comes from her mum. Right? Because her mum, the way she was operating with old boy when she was talking, I'm afraid my daughter's safety, and I was like, okay, look, I get it. You know, family are going to be concerned. But I wonder how much of that energy also has transferred to Jasmina. You know, I wonder how much of that nervousness and anxiousness has transferred to her. Plus, old girl, and I'll let you guys discuss this on another question when I ask it. Old girl said her relationships have been long distance. She has not been doing up close and personal. That's a big thing. Because having long distance relationship means you don't have to spend all your time with that person in your face. You get to have the time where they leave you for a bit. Having someone in your face is completely different. How do you handle that? You know, how do you handle that? Right? So listen, I think we're gonna find it interesting to see how these two kind of operate. But I wanted to ask you, maybe you guys, can speak to that. What you guys thought? I don't know if anyone wants to add on this subject, and then I'll ask another question. Does anyone else want to add to this? See what you got your mic open. Go for it.
About the long distance part.
No, you can talk about this part still, and then I'll go to long distance after.
Yeah, I mean, I do think I did sense a lot of fear from her mother. And maybe it has to do with the way her husband, Jasmina's father, ex-husband, left and went back to Jamaica pretty much, and left her with, you know, raising his daughter. I know that was her choice, but, you know, I'm pretty sure that was a bit of,
wait, who?
Jasmina's mother, the mother.
Oh, I was thinking I didn't know Jasmina's. Okay, sorry. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
And her dad ended up leaving the mother, getting a divorce, and going back to Jamaica. And so basically someone who's not akin to her raised her. And I if I was her, that to me would be quite an experience for me, to say the least. I mean, she stepped up and did it. She's a saint for that, because how many people would do that? Not too many. But I'm pretty sure that's quite to deal with. So if she has a new relationship now, she's married again, and that's positive. But I will say, to Corey's point, if someone, because I will refuse to lie. If you ask me a direct question, you're gonna get a direct answer. If you back me against a corner, I'm gonna have to tell you the truth. If you ask me, do I have any examples of married couples, and I don't, I just, you know, what is he supposed to do? He's supposed to lie. And I don't really feel like Jasmina has a great example of married couples from what we learned from her experience. So her energy seemed arrogant and a bit judgmental.
Yeah.
Coming from a person who also, coming from a parent who knows their child has also had a bit of an unstable upbringing. And that's not to say, I mean, there are differences, and a lot of people can speak to that, from people who've grown up with two-parent, completely stable houses and trying to date people who may not have had that experience. I'm not going to lie and say there may not be any differences there. But between those two, I don't know where she got off with that line of questioning. And I think this is not like a stranger on Hinge or Bumble. This is someone who we know, for at least, at minimum, we know is not a serial unliver or any of that. So I just don't know where all that energy was coming from. And I'll address the long distance whenever we get to it.
I'm here with you. Anyone else want to add on this particular question before we jump on to long distance comment that she made? No? All right, yeah. She made a comment, obviously saying all her relationships have been long distance, and I want to kind of get you guys' perspective. Um, if that makes a difference to, coming into a marriage where you're gonna spend a lot of time with each other, and there's no running away, I guess. But what's you guys' thoughts on that particular piece? That Jasmina's relationships have been long distance, and what kind of effect does it have on relationships? If you want like to add.
Well, since my mic is still open, I think it's going to be hard.
Mm.
Um, First of all, having your relationships be long distance is one thing. And then you haven't had anyone in your, even around doing, sleepovers every other night, or, staying 3 nights and leaving. If all of your relationships have been fly in, fly out, hop on a trip, you visit him, that's not reality. And I think what a lot of people experience in the pandemic, when you have to spend a whole bunch of time with someone in a house, or even people who for their first time have to live with someone and they've never lived with someone before, it's going to be a huge adjustment. And I think people underestimate that. So she hasn't even had the long-term stays where she has to get used to a man in her house doing what men do and trying to operate as she normally operates as a woman. I mean, if I was her, I feel like that would be quite hard. It's a bit of, and they don't really give you enough time to really. It takes months to get used to living with someone, especially if you only had long term or long distance relationship experience. And by the time you get used to it, the process, is going to be over. But I know a lot of people say Boston doesn't have a lot of black people, and maybe she's kind of been forced into that situation. So I won't make a judgment call on why she's been doing long distance, but it definitely doesn't set you up for success when you're talking about moving in with a stranger.
Mm. Would you deep, deep? I love it. Um, Corey, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. So for me, with the long distance, it seems to me like it has to be by choice. You know that she's actually actively choosing to date long distance because she's not a bad looking woman, and I'm trying to get an understanding of why that is the case. But to me, a long distance relationship is a commitment without the commitment. So maybe there's something about it, and I'll go into that a little bit. Maybe there's something about a long distance relationship that does excite her or does give her some type of warmth at night. But when I say commitment without the commitment, yeah, you're in a committed relationship, but you're not committed to visiting that person every day or every other day. You're not committed to the dates that go along with it, the extra time that's needed in a local relationship. You don't have that commitment to that time. So I think that in this marriage, there are going to be times where she's going to want to be left alone. She's going to say, "Hey, I need some space," and then she'll realize space means the next room because I can't go nowhere. We're in this together. So I think she's in a situation where, much like Olajuwon, is that they don't really understand the seriousness of what they're signing up for when it comes to marriage. Maybe she signed up because she's tired of doing long distance relationships. Who knows? But it really boils down to the fact of why she chose to do long distance relationships. That'll give me a little bit more understanding about who she is as a person, and if she can actually handle this in a marriage, this closeness that's necessary to be in a marriage. So yeah, still a lot to unfold. I know I keep saying to see a few more episodes to make those type of decisions, but yeah, it's still a lot to unfold with her. I really need to know exactly why um, her relationships have been long distance.
Sean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like I hear exactly what Seaway is saying, and I understand that aspect. I mean, I think for me, people go into marriages and haven't lived with someone before, but and are able to function. I think it's about the way your approach to it. And I think she just needs to be a little more open, and I think she's closed to hearing what shucks, what is his name again?
Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she needs to just be more open to hearing what he says. She doesn't have to agree with it, but just be open to hear about it, especially when we're talking about concepts, right? And it's just a healthy exchange of ideas. It's not like I want to go here and you want to go there. It's like, this is how I think and this is how I process and this is how you think and you process. Tell me why you think that way. Why do you feel that way? Let's not make assumptions about each other. And that's what I think people gotta, especially in a marriage, you gotta give people a little more grace. There's gonna be bigger fish to fry. You can't get caught up in the minutia of, oh, I'm a glass half full and you're glass half empty. Like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we arrived there. Because if the shutdown or the stonewall happens, that's going to be your go-to mechanism for always handling conflict. I do think the problematic part about having only long distance relationships is that a characteristic of the long-term relationship is typically when you guys do get the chance to spend time with each other, you just hyper focus on spending time with each other, right? You cherish those moments, and sometimes you don't get to the nitty gritty. Sometimes you see red flags, but you avoid them because you don't know when the next time you're going to see the person. So the cycle of resolution is longer. So I think perhaps that part has impacted her, where she hasn't really worked on how to handle conflict, how to deal with disagreements, whereas Michael is more open to dealing with that, right? So yeah, we definitely can look at our parents' relationships as a basis point, but how many people that have had successful two-parent households get divorced, have a myriad of relationships that are failed? It's not a cookie cutter formula to having a successful relationship. It does help, but it's not the answer. It's more about the way you think about things. So how many people that come from nothing make it out the mud and do really well? So I think that it's about the way you think about it, the approach that you take into your marriage. And I just want for her to be a little bit more open, for her to be a little bit more attuned to hearing what he has to say. And it's okay if you disagree. Like, we're not going to agree on everything. And I think that's kind of what Michael is saying. There's no way you're going to be in a relationship and there's going to be any conflict. It doesn't mean it has to be World War III. It just means there's going to be things that we don't agree with, but it doesn't have to be deal breakers. So that's my thing. I don't want us to get so stuck in these concepts that keep us from creating bridges to communication. So I just want her to take a chill pill. It's okay to be upset. She had a moment, but please come back, revisit it. Let's talk. Maybe I kind of shut down too soon. Let me hear what you have to say. Like, I want to see that from her. I'm hoping she'll give it to us, but I don't know.
Yeah. And you know what? This is not even a toxic kind of, response or anything like that. This is merely a response in the moment where, too much thought, overthinking, reacting to the situation. These are and this is what he's talking about, right? This is the very thing that she said is not happening is the very thing that just happened. Natural conflict. We perceive things in different ways, and sometimes we see things in an aspect, and we see things differently, and it's okay. This is what he meant. We will not know each other's boundaries and we'll see things differently. So really, really do, I don't have any bad blood for these two. I think it's a normal fight that happens between couples. You're bound to have one of these stupid little arguments in your relationship. You know what I mean? Like, these are growing pains of any relationship where you have some kind of argument which is never meant to be an argument. Do you know what I mean? It's silly, but it happens because we're human beings and we want to, like I said, we feel as we feel. So yeah, for me, watching them two, I think it was, I think for her long distance situation, I think she's gonna be learning how to navigate that field? How do I navigate having somebody more often than usual? I think I think here in this situation, I think she'll be okay. I think he'll be okay too. I think they will be all right moving forward. I think once they're just learning each other, they're learning how each other move. So yeah, I think she'll come round to his way of thinking. I think she knows. I think he's gonna prove to her that he's worthy of her allowing him to lead and trusting that. The stepfather told him, listen, don't be soft out here, but also don't abuse her. Do you know what I mean? And I think once she gets to see that, that he's trustworthy of her time and her energy, I think she will eventually calm it down and learn to let him lead. But we say that now, we've got a few weeks to go before we see anything else. You know what I mean? So a lot of things can happen in that time. All right, cool. I think that's really much what happened on the show. Was there any other points anybody wants to bring up? No, it's late, I know. Sean, give us a roundup. Give us a benediction, bro, because it's late,
Excellent. So listen, we had some fun. We might have slightly disagreed, but we mostly disagreed. I think these couples are shaping up to be a lot of fun. I hope that we can put all the Karens to bed. We don't need any more Karens in 2022. We've had enough of you. Please go away. Fix your white fragility, your white tears, get them healed. Don't inflict us with your pain. We need to be healed. We already see it. I'm not saying anything new. Alyssa, it's a done deal. Those two, Alyssa and Chris, unfortunately, we apologize, Chris. We're sorry. Katina and Olajuwon, I don't know. They're the hot-headed couple. I don't know. Let's see where they go. Let's see if they can make it. The verdict is not yet out. Lindsay and Mark, the shock, I don't know, but he needs to make sure his wife understands the error of her ways, and please let us not see that side of her again. We have Mike and Jasmina. Let's learn to communicate, right? It's all about communication. That's just 101. That's all relationships are about. Let's learn how to navigate our conversations, get to know each other, be open. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to stonewall. It's not okay to make arguments where no arguments are needed. There's going to be plenty to argue about, but we wish you the best. Noy and Steve, brother, please understand the assignment. It is employment. You want to be married? You want to have kids? You need to be working. Get to it. Make it happen. I don't have much to say about Noy. She hasn't shown us much other than a little bit of this noisy alter ego. So, she seems nice. So I just wish for Steve to get a job. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Sean. Employment. It's a powerful thing. Listen, audience members, I do apologize for it being so late, but thank you for your patience today. I know it's been one of the craziest days. You guys have been with us for at least 5 hours. Nothing new there, I guess. Listen, we will be back on Saturday. We will be here for Dante's interview, and after that, we'll then have Ready to Love, the beginning of the new season. You guys will get to have your say and everything as well. And then on Sunday, we will end Ready to Love interviews with Aisha from the show Ready to Love as well. That'll be at 7 p.m. EST. And then hopefully I would have gathered the UK force as well for Ready to Love. So during the week, you guys get an extra hour of hearing from the UK cast to talk about Ready to Love. So hopefully we'll see what happens there. But listen, it's been amazing. It's been great. Thank you for staying up so late with us as well. We're back on Saturday. And also Tuesday night, I forgot, Tuesday night, we are now hosting some panel conversation. You guys have been asking me to do these things again. Friday night's out the window because of Ready to Love. So Tuesday night, we're going to be having open convo panel. So relationship convo panel. I think the topic we're talking about this time, let me check my calendar. I did put it in there so I didn't forget, because I forget like this right now. See what happens. We've got Tuesday night, we've got a little thing, and it is... Oh, yes. Are you ready for love if you're having sex with others? This is the question we're asking. This was triggered by Walter on Ready to Love. I'm now asking the question. We're going to ask you guys, come on and give your thoughts and opinions. I'm going to say this as well. Listen, if you're new to me and I do not know you, your camera needs to be on. Because of what's happened on YouTube recently, people's channels have been getting deleted because people come on there and do some crash test nonsense when we don't know. So if I don't know you and I've never seen you on my channel before, you will not be allowed to enter without a camera on. Okay? All right? It's trust issues that I have, and I don't want my channel getting put down. Okay? So Tuesday night, 7 p.m. EST, we'll be live having an open-ended discussion talking about, are you ready for love if you're out here in them streets? We're going to have that discussion. So if you want to have that discussion, you want to come and give your opinion, your thoughts, you join us on Tuesday night. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon.